The hearings continue for those involved in the January 6th Capitol riots. The most recent one, of course, involves somebody who's part of the Three Percenter movement, a man named Guy Wesley Reffitt. Now, on Monday, Reffitt was involved in an emotional 2-hour hearing over his request to be released pending trial for his part in the Capitol riots. Now, Reffitt is originally from Texas and had been turned into the FBI by his 18-year-old liberal son, Jackson. Now, the son and his 16-year-old sister had reportedly been threatened by their father if they had went to authorities. The son was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go to authorities anyway. You're a MAGA cultist. We're done. I'm done with you. Now, nothing in the article, by the way, suggests that he is quote-unquote liberal, but there was a passage in it where it says that they didn't get along as a result of their political views. And so it's just a little assumption here. But all right. Now, his daughter, okay. So let me just go to the idea, the fact that he had threatened his kids. You better not turn me into the FBI. You better not be a narc. Okay. That's interesting. Because again, he being at the Capitol that day, it was a crime. He was doing literal crime. Not exactly setting a great example for the kids. I mean, you're not winning Father of the Year anytime soon. I can tell you that. All right. Now, interestingly enough, his daughter came in to, basically testify on his behalf by saying this, quote, "He's not a violent person. He just says things. He talks a lot. That's just him being a drama queen. I wasn't in fear, I guess. It was annoying in a way. My MAGA QAnon cultist dad, going to that, he just talks. This is all, it's talk. I mean, it's not like he went to the Capitol and, oh, right. Yeah. Now, again, that's the daughter. The son felt a little differently because, well, right now, the son is literally in hiding from his father. Reffitt's son, Jackson, turned his father into the FBI. The son has since left the family's home, essentially disappearing and living in what the Justice Department calls an undisclosed location. He's in like witness protection. What? They don't just put you in witness protection if the dad is all talk. Okay. I mean, what an absolute mess. Now, his sister did say on court on Monday that her father and brother had a strained relationship because of political tension. Well, I can tell you, it would be pretty contentious living with somebody who's not just, pro-Trump, whatever, but rabidly pro-Trump conspiracy theorists, so much so that literally going to the Capitol to try to overturn a legal, lawful election in favor of Donald Trump. Of putting him into a position of power that he no longer belongs in, that the American people voted against putting him back into that position. But then again, the question here, in front of the judge here, is okay. Given all the information that we have, is this man actually dangerous? Well, the judge in this case, Zia Faruqi, believes that he is a danger to the community, despite the family arguing that Reffitt's words should not be taken seriously. But look, again, I think that this person is a threat. And this is based on some of the stuff that he has said before. And here's what he said. In the days after the attack, according to court filings, Guy Reffitt was taped speaking inside his home, and prosecutors had the audio. At home, Reffitt talked about the video that he had taken on January 6th, bragging about and defending his part in the riot, and called it a, quote, preface, and pledged that he was not done. The judge said that he believes Reffitt could still be a danger to the community, especially because of the firearms that he had kept, his statements about future violence, and additional messages he sent to other Trump supporters who backed a revolt against the American government. And so, look, one or two of those things, I mean, having guns, I don't think that if you have guns that you're necessarily going to be a violent person. There's a lot of people that have guns. There's a lot of leftists that have guns in this country. and they're not violent insurrectionists. But when you start to put things over together, and sometimes like even like, oh yeah, the Tree of Liberty, whatever, and you get conservatives saying that all the time, even though generally for the most part it is just BS, and they're just messing around or whatever, trolling or just being ridiculous jackasses. But you start putting all this stuff together, guns, anti-government sentiment, literally being on at the Capitol during that time with zip ties and a gun. That's a dangerous person. It's not just talk. Okay, it's not just talk here. Okay. In fact, Faruqi noted that there was a silencer Reffitt owned that fit on one of his weapons that was found in his home. It's funny because later on, when he was busted with that, he's like, "Oh no, that's not a gun. I'm sorry, that's not a silencer. It's a fuel filter." Yeah. It's a fuel filter. They'll buy that. Of course. Yeah. Great. Now, Reffitt and the other 3 percenters had driven to Washington in early January. He had brought with him his AR-15 rifle, as well as a pistol. Prosecutors also say Reffitt, who was clad in body armor as well, carried the pistol and the plastic cuff restraints as he advanced on a police line, protecting the Capitol. When investigators later searched his house and found the weapons, again, that's when he told police said, or investigators, no, that silencer, that's not a silencer. That's a fuel filter. What are you talking about? He also allegedly wrote to other 3 percenters, prosecutors say, over a messaging app about taking the Capitol again for a second time. So, all right, look, the family wants to call it talk, but there was also action. And by the way, isn't it all just talk until something happens? I mean, that's kind of the way that I see it. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. It's just talk. Nobody. I could never see them being violent until they are. Yeah. But in this case, we've got quite a few. It looks like quite a few red flags. A little bit of warning here. That looks not so good. That it seems like this person happens to be pretty radicalized. And so I think that, yeah, it's too much risk to let this person go free. I get the family not wanting to believe that their family member, their father, brother, husband, whatever, that person could be violent. And yet the son, since he's in protective custody, is absolutely believes that he could be violent. And so definitely talk the talk. And as far as going to the Capitol, walking the walk, which is dangerous. One more thing here. So now Judge Faruqi is well aware of, I think, the emotional strain that this is putting on their family. And I just want to read the quote on that. She said, "My heart is broken. I see people in your family suffering. I see an American family suffering. It isn't an easy thing to say, but I think it's what the law requires in this case. It's clearly caused a tremendous burden to your family." Well, true. But the person that put that burden on that family was Reffitt through his actions, and that shouldn't, of course, be forgotten. Again, he bought, and this has been a theme of my show ever since the January 6th riots, and even beyond, even beforehand, I've been talking about the danger of right-wing conspiracy theories. And this is one of those things. It's a result of that. The conspiracy that, oh no, Joe Biden, with the help of the ghost of Hugo Chavez and Iran and China, we're all getting together to try to steal the election away from Donald Trump and give it to Joe Biden. Or what they would consider to be like the reanimated corpse of Joe Biden and the adrenochrome, whatever. It gets crazy. But that's what it is, these conspiracy theories. And what it really does is it takes people who otherwise feel powerless, or even if that's not necessarily the case, and it makes them feel like they're, the center of their own story, the hero of their own story. And in this case, that's and then just like in many of these cases, that's not at all true. They're not the heroes of the story. They're actually the villains. And so, yeah, he got radicalized by the right wing, by conservative media, Fox News, who pushed the big lie, and all these other, and the former president as well pushing the big lie, and that basically prompted him into making the decision to go to the Capitol in body armor with a gun. He's a dangerous person as a result of this. And so, not only that, but threatening his kids. I mean, could you imagine? But here's the thing. I don't blame, by the way, his son for being afraid of this and for being smart enough to realize that I think this is just more than talk. I mean, if you look at Parler and you look at right-wing forums, you look at the conservative movement as it stands today, there's a lot of violence. They talk about doing violence against liberals for a staggering amount. And I'm not saying like every single conservative is a violent person, but I'm saying that a lot of these violent people, at least when it comes to violent anti-government people, well, there are a lot of them on the right wing. Okay. And then you live in a house. Imagine living in a house with somebody like that who's got a bunch of guns as a liberal or somebody who is at least left of that insanity. And it's not a good situation. So, yeah, I think the judge made a good choice, made the prudent choice in not allowing this person to walk free before their trial. Because who knows what kind of trouble they might be up to. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.